Adam Eve might just be one of the most powerful characters in the Invincible universe. With her matter manipulation powers, she can heal wounds, create weapons, generate force fields, and even reconstruct her body after death. But no one is... not even Adam Eve. So today, we're breaking down every major character in the Invincible universe who could realistically beat her in a fight. Now, given that Eve can basically self-resurrect, some of her entries might have to be a little more creative. Starting off with Angstrom Levy. Given Eve's incredible power, sometimes the best way to beat her is not to fight her at all. Angstrom has the edge in that he could just sprint her away into another dimension, and that would be that. Given her matter manipulation abilities, it is unlikely that she would die straight away, or even at all.
You murdered my whole family!
But she would be beaten, no longer a threat to mainline Angstrom, and even if she did manage to find a way back, he could just do it again. Remember, he doesn't have to be anywhere near where his portals are for them to work, and he can move them about. He would simply have to locate her, potentially using his drones, and done. Basically, Control-Alt-Delete and she's out of the equation, without triggering any of her abilities. A bit of a hot take now, but hear me out, Cecil Stedman. Not him alone, but given his vast resources and tenacity, I believe he could get the job done. Not afraid to get his hands dirty or throw aside the rulebook, Cecil Stedman has more than one trick up his sleeve, such as the teleporter, sort of the same trick as Angstrom, but he could zap her to space or the bottom of the ocean or into a volcano, but that would likely trigger her regenerative capabilities. Going for a kill shot, he could use another orbital satellite cannon and just disintegrate her instantly. I doubt even Eve's immense powers could stop that from doing the job. He also has access to teams of scientists who work around the clock. He might be able to cook something up to nullify her capabilities. He was quick on the job when he figured out that high-pitched frequencies could subdue even Viltrumites, so it's not out of the equation that he could do the same for Eve. If her brain doesn't perceive that she is under high levels of duress, her abilities won't trigger. The government made her. Surely given enough time, they could unmake her. If he were able to sedate her, he could just lock her up and throw away the key. But moving away from tricks and tactics to a more direct opponent, and one who already nearly finished the job, it's Conquest. Now, we've already witnessed just how the fight between the two would go down, but what if Conquest didn't play with his food? We saw that in a one-on-one, Eve is hopelessly, hilariously outmatched. He beat her to a pulp the moment she faltered, killing her in 2 brutal blows. Her only saving grace was a limiter on her powers broke, and she self-resurrected and blasted his skin off. But even that did not kill him. If Mark wasn't there, could Conquest have finished the job? We saw that Eve collapsed immediately after resurrecting. We know that this process has a downtime. It comes at a heavy cost, leaving Eve vulnerable. Conquest could simply saunter over and crush her brain, seeing as that is the likely source of her powers if he did it quickly. I don't think her limiters would have time to trigger, and she would be dead. And Conquest would have probably loved every minute. Sticking with Viltrumites for now, next up is Omni-Man. Although a very similar scenario to Conquest, there is one defining difference. Omni-Man isn't a stark raving lunatic who monologues about how amazing it feels to rip a child in half. Omni-Man would not be playing around from the get-go. We see this from interaction with Cecil in Season 1 that he goes right for the throat. Omni-Man wouldn't waste time reveling in the fight or trying to enjoy himself. We saw that when he ambushed the Guardians of the Globe, he went straight for the biggest threat. He's a tactician with tons of fighting experience. Even when the initial ambush failed, he was able to improvise, adapt, and overcome. Given that we have seen Omni-Man take on an entire team of superheroes with varying powers and abilities all at once, we doubt that Eve would be much of a threat with her limiters in check. Omni-Man throws nothing but kill shots. In the likely event that he tries to impale or decapitate her, she would just regenerate and likely hurt him. But if he is able to figure this out beforehand or survive the retaliation, then I know he would get creative. In Season 2, we see Omni-Man float near the event horizon of a black hole. Why he could grab Eve, zoom off to one, and drop her in. Or fling her into the sun, he could just fly far enough from the planet, leave her there, and that would be that. Speaking of the original Guardians of the Globe, Red Rush, the speedster of the original crew, would likely be a bigger threat to Eve than most people would realize. His super speed isn't just limited to moving fast. He has super speed perception, allowing him to react to events so fast that most people would even be able to see it happen. It would be almost impossible for Eve to hit him with any pink energy or other attacks, and he could just move in and out of the fight fight on a whim. If he decides he is tired of fighting, he could just zoom off to France for a croissant and a coffee and be back before Eve has time to blink. That speed would be crucial in beating her too. A far less brutal hero than other entries on our list, Red Rush would likely not want to smash her into tiny little pieces, but if he did, it would be over in less than a second. With a piece of wire or anything sharp really, Eve could be reduced to a fine paste before her limiters broke. But because he is a hero, he would likely try to incapacitate her, something that likely wouldn't work too well, as anything she's put into or tied up with, she could just change the matter into water or steam. But she still wouldn't really be able to hit Red Rush, so in this case, he wins. Moving on to someone we have seen actually get the job done, it's Mark, aka Invincible, the current boyfriend of Adam Eve, but if things ever did take a turn for the worse, I know he could beat her, because we've already seen this happen in the opening of Season 2. An alternate version of Mark finds her among the resistance of their planet. The fight doesn't even last a few seconds. He toys with her and shrugs off her attacks laughably. Then, he snaps her neck in such a way that doesn't kill her, but leaves her paralyzed. As we see, this doesn't trigger her limiters, and is effective. We see Eve lying there, fully incapacitated, unable to move or do anything.
Last chance, Eve.
She might be able to put up a bit of a better fight in the mainline universe, but so does Mark. As they both grow in strength and experience, he still outpaces Eve by quite a bit. Their relationship also gives him a bit of an edge. He could appeal to her, try to claim her, or manipulate her into getting close and deliver the killing blow, while she is unsuspecting and her guard is fully down. Something that almost every other person on this list would not be able to do. And that's not even to mention just how ludicrously strong Mark becomes towards the end of the comic. It's not just his own power that he wields, but the might of the entire Viltrum Empire by then. If it came to blows when he is older, Eve would not be able to put up much of a fight. Speaking of the Viltrum Empire, our next contender is Thrag, the current Grand Regent of the Viltrum Empire. While not currently in the show, he plays a big part in the story to come. He's an absolute monster, outclassing characters like Conquest by a wide margin. Hands down, the strongest Viltrumite currently alive. Trained from birth to be the ultimate warrior. Standing head and shoulders above Mark in size, speed, strength, and battle experience, he is also one of the older living Viltrumites. Having been alive during the Viltrumite Civil War, he would be almost 1,000 years old. His battle experience alone is absolutely titanic. Having fought in countless wars, conquered thousands of planets, and fought against aliens of every shape and size across the entire galaxy, Eve would be little more than another ant on this endless expansion, but he'd have to be quick, which he is. He is like Nolan in Conquest turned up to 11, cold calculating and brutal. He also commands the Viltrum Empire as it stands, so he likely wouldn't even have to fight Eve face to face. Just send a scouting party after her and be done with it. But if she proves too much for them and his hand is forced, then he would definitely show. If Nolan could throw her into a black hole or a sun, just imagine what Thrag could do. He would likely just blitz Eve into little pieces before she could react, or her limiters could break and she would never even know what hit her. Sticking with the feats of incredible strength and brutality, and one of the two beings that actually went toe to toe with Thrag and nearly won. It's Battle Beast, a giant lion humanoid warrior from a far off planet. He, like Conquest, Nolan, and Thrag, would have to utilize his strength and battle experience to win, being much closer to Conquest in that he seeks the ultimate battle. He would likely want to trigger her limiters, if he knew about them. In Season 1, we see Battle Beast beat Mark into a hospital effortlessly, while almost entirely ignoring the new Guardians of the Globe, aside from Monster Girl and Black Samson, who he demolishes with ease too. If Eve were there, she would likely have died or been beaten down too. We see that Battle Beast has no trouble, even with Viltrumites in Season 2. In fact, Battle Beast's top feat is in his fight with Thrag, a colossal battle that lasted 3 entire days and ripped up an entire planet. While Battle Beast did lose, it's because he handicapped himself to match Thrag's mortal wound, and he still almost won. Thrag needed urgent medical care after the fight. It's a testament to his strength, endurance, and battle experience. Battle Beast would likely kill her quickly, either with his massive mace or his jaws and claws. If she were to regenerate and retaliate, he'd likely survive, figuring out how to kill her for good in the process. A character that has an interesting set of powers, not entirely like Eve's, would be Alan the Alien. In Season 1, we see Alan get torn to shreds by a Viltrumite scouting party, except he survives. Not only does he survive, he recovers and is far stronger than he was before, and bigger as well. Prior to that encounter, he's no match for even a single Viltrumite. After just one survived encounter, he's able to take on multiple Viltrumites Viltrumites at once. Alan's ability kicks in a few more times in the comics, so we know it's not just one and done. Every time he gets exponentially stronger, reaching new heights again and again, much like Adam Eve's regenerative abilities, except he comes back way stronger. Their fight would likely be long and drawn out, with days or even weeks between bouts. Each time one of them killed the other, they would simply regenerate, except Alan would keep getting stronger until eventually Eve just wouldn't be able to stand against him, even with her regenerative capabilities of her limiters fully broken. There would come to a point where Alan would be so strong that he could just ignore the attacks and crush her again and again until the job is done. Coming now to our final entry, and finally moving away from raw strength, it's Robot, or Rudy, or Rex. A super genius born into a deformed body. Robot, even in Season 1, is a formidable opponent, preferring to outthink rather than outpunch. He's able to analyze the Flaxans as they are invading and come up with ways to beat them on the fly. He later clones himself into a copy of Rex and is able to live out his life in a functional normal body. He even stopped Monster Girl's reverse aging all through his smarts alone. Rudy might be the only character in the Invincible universe who could beat Eve without throwing a single punch. We see in Season 2 that he's able to reverse engineer portal technology to save Mark from the empty universe. So he could just portal Eve away like Angstrom. He might be able to develop tech that would completely nullify her powers, given time and resources. And all of that is just Robot from the show in the earlier seasons. Robot from the comics is a step even further. He upgrades his drones to be able to stand against Viltrumites, giving them a harder alloy and bigger models to better fly them. He also seizes control of the entire planet and stages a coup, killing any superhero he deems a threat to his new regime. And it is beyond effective. He forces Mark off of Earth because he doesn't wish to fight him. Robot in the late game comics takes Cecil's teachings to a whole new level, getting his hands dirty to beat the bad guys permanently. Robot never fought fair, but after that he didn't need to fight at all. Eve simply wouldn't be able to compete, and if she regenerated and blissed Robot, it would likely just be a bunch of drones she killed. Robot would know better than to be anywhere near her. He wouldn't have to kill her to win either. As we see in the comics, he essentially shoos her and Mark off the planet with pretty much no trouble at all, blasting them without needing to fight at all. Did we miss anyone? Leave a comment down below if there's anyone you think could be Adam Eve. And if you enjoyed this video, then take a look at the other video on screen, where we go over everyone who could kill Omni-Man.